Hi, 안녕하세요. This is Nara's Kimchi, and today we're going to make mochi that looks a lot like our cube. And so, in Mexico, these are very hard to find, and these are very easy to make at home if you have the right ingredients. And today we're even making We're making a waffle version too. So let's get to it. All right, so ingredients Sero's going to introduce. This is sweet rice flour I got from Korean store, and that was very expensive, so I don't think I'll ever buy that ever again. This was something like $6 maybe. I thought, okay, for a pound. Okay, so for 1 pound it was $6, way too much. This one from Thailand also came from Korean store, and that was more like $2. So that's way more budget friendly. So please use this one. And these are not regular rice flour. You can see it says glutinous rice flour. So that's AKA sweet rice flour. And so that's the flour part. For inside, this is red bean paste. I made this one myself. I just soaked the sweet red bean and soaked it for overnight, cooked it in a pressure cooker, and I mashed it a little bit. And you could just add a little bit of sugar to make it sweet. But if you don't want, you can buy a can. So this is what the canned version looks like. It's very easy to find this at any Asian grocery store. Doesn't have to be this brand, but you can see it says sweet red bean paste, and that's about what it is. Just salt and sugar, and that's about it. So let's make the dough, and this will be soft dough. I'm going to make two different dough. One is just white dough, very easy to make. Let's say this is a half cup. So I'll make 1 cup with this. And you add a bit of salt. I'll say like this much. Very little. And sugar, you don't have to add sugar, but I like the dough just a little bit sweet. So I'm going to add 1 teaspoon. This. Then you start to pour water as you stir. And you want this to be a wet dough. It's a little bit of runny dough. And depending on where you live and how dry the flour is, you have to adjust the water quite a bit. Oops, I added a little too much water here. So when that happens, you will just add more flour until you get the right consistency. This is almost ready, but I think it's still too runny, so I'll add just a bit more flour. Okay, so this is about correct. This is not quite thick enough to be a bread dough consistency, but it's not runny like pancake batter either. So that's for our basic mochi or basic duck, sweet rice duck. And you can set it aside. And I'm going to make another one with mugwort that I cooked and froze. I'll just make a smaller batch for that one. So that's half cup. So that's about 1 cup. And same thing, a little bit of sugar and a little bit of salt. So this is mugwort that looks like cooked and frozen spinach, and I'm going to chop this very fine and add to this dough. You can use powder also. They do sell powder form in Koreatown, but of course fresh frozen is the best. So using the same method, and this time I'll make sure I don't over pour the water. Definitely too thick. Feel like this is almost right, but not quite. Just a little more water. Bacon, you will get this. I think this looks about correct now. Yeah, it looks good. The same consistency as this one, where it was very wet dough. But you see how this pulls together. It doesn't stick everywhere. It actually, they grab each other very well here. I think I'm going to add a little more artemisa, but I want a little more green color. Yeah, it has a lot more green color now, and that's what I like. You can also use cooked pumpkin. Very popular flavor in Korea. Yep, so this dough is done as well. Now we set that aside as well. And the first one, so the first dough, it's been sitting for a few minutes while I was making artemisa dough. And I'm going to put a little bit of a saran wrap and microwave for 3 minutes. Before you microwave, you leave a little bit of air room here. So you can see when there's a little bit of the green. So just a little bit of breathing room like this. Or you can use chopstick or fork and puncture in the middle so the steam can escape. You do want some steam to build up, but not too much that it really rises too much. So like this, and I will microwave for 3 minutes. After steaming for 2 minutes, I pulled it out real quick just so I can stir it a little bit. That way there's no raw powder. You can see the bottom part hasn't been cooked too well yet, while the top part is fully cooked. So I will mix it once. And for final 1 minute, I will actually cover the whole thing and just cook a little more. So this is another option. So I'm going to use this one mostly, the red beans. But for those who don't have red beans but have sesame seeds, I'm going to show you how to make another option for filling. So I'm just going to pound a little bit so they break a little bit. Then just add a little bit of honey or syrup for sweetness, and you can also add sugar as well. So I will put, for this amount, like 1/4 cup, I'm going to add about a teaspoon of sugar, bit of salt, very little bit, and I'll add 1 teaspoon of syrup. And that's 1 teaspoon of corn syrup. You can use rice syrup, regular cane sugar syrup, whatever you like to find. And that's more for a binder purpose. So you can see that makes a little bit of a wet dough here. or you can also add just a little bit of water. Tiny bit. I think that was about a teaspoon of water. So that's another option for filling alongside red beans here. So these are cool enough. When they come out of the microwave, it's really hot, so try not to work right away because you're gonna get burned. So maizena, which is a cornstarch brand, I'm going to use this to put the finished mochi or finished rice cake here, like this. That way it doesn't, they don't really stick together. Just very little bit. I think that's about enough. And if you need more, you could always put just a little more. Try to use starch, not flour, not the regular wheat flour. And now that it's cool enough to handle, but I don't want this to stick to my hands, so I will use my trusty cooking spray. And pull just enough. And take about like this much, about the size, and make a little bowl of it, like this, just like making my hot dog. And add about this much, probably a little less than a teaspoon. And you can stretch out like this, so you can close the pocket. You can sort of see the red bean from outside. And you put this right here. Just put very little bit of cornstarch like this. This is the shape we want. And for the bottom part, the butt part, you have to really close it pretty well, several times, so it doesn't open and explode. Let's make one with mugwort. So the outer part that got exposed to air, it kind of dries out. So you do want to manipulate a few times like this. You cannot smell this, but it smells amazing. I love the smell of Artemisa, aka mugwort. This one we can use sesame seeds. Sesame seeds have a lot stronger flavor, so I'll use very little bit. And same thing, you can stretch out a little bit and close this little purse here. And really seal this part several times. That was fast. And put just a little bit of starch like this. The next one, I'm going to make one and cook it in a waffle maker. So I can make one big one. Just grab a little more like this. Yeah. Wow, that's pretty strong hold here. So I'm going to make one big one and press in a waffle iron. So these two large mochi, I will actually put them in waffle iron because I love waffle iron for everything. So let's just put it like this, one on each side, and just press. And I'll wait about 2 minutes or so. I think our mochi waffle is all done now. Let's see, it's still sizzling. Yep, and you can see like it actually expanded and a little bit of a red bean came out, and it's all good. So it's using chopsticks. Wow, it looks really great with a waffle iron like that. So I'm really excited to taste this. So mochi means rice cake in Japanese, but it's really popular in Korea too. So you know, we make this or we buy this just like in the States. But as usual, it's very expensive. So anyway, let me just taste this. This one is the Artemisa flavor one. Bacon really wants this, but it's very sticky and I don't want that stuck in his roof of his mouth. So I will eat it for you. Very well. It looks so good. It's still in my mouth, but I cannot stop eating. Anyway, I'm gonna show you how to cut this with scissors, of course. Always. And with scissors. So sticky. And this time I'm going to taste the regular one, the basic white dough. Yum. This was so good. This is exactly what I missed, and usually I don't buy them at Korean store because they're a little bit on the expensive side. So for storing, you could just wrap in a saran wrap and freeze until you're ready to eat. You don't want to, these are already fully cooked, so you don't want them to spoil or get really hard in room temperature. Put in the freezer, and whenever you're ready to eat, you just thaw them for room temperature, just enjoy. Or maybe microwave, just a tiny bit. I hope everybody enjoyed this video and hope you guys all make it at home. Bye!